Folks, this guy's walking away from $300,000. Let me tell you about that, and then the latest home prices and insights for the Peel and Durham region for week ending January 31st, 2024. If you're here every week, you enjoy the content, you've not yet subscribed, consider subscribing. So I was recently speaking with somebody. They're telling me about their situation and how they are really, really stuck. And he's given me permission to share it here on our channel. Basically, a few years ago, he went into a presentation center, him and his wife, thinking they're going to consider buying a property for him and his wife to move into. And they were looking at that and they were in the presentation center. He describes how it was exciting, it was motivating, there was a lineup, they lined up, they waited their turn, they went in, there was people all over the place, and it kind of looked like this buyer's buying, that buyer's buying, that buyer's buying. So they finally had their chance to sit with the salesperson showing them all the different models, the price point, and also showed them predictions of where prices were going to be. And this couple thought, we hit the jackpot here. We're going to buy a house and it's going to be worth so much more. And that's what they did. They bought a house. They did their math that with the interest rates then, remember, interest rates have changed, but back then they did their math with what the current interest rates were, thought they could easily afford this. And in fact, they were so impressed with the projection of value that they bought a second property. And the whole plan was, on closing, we were going to sell the second one, and even thought maybe we could sell it before closing. But they were going to sell the second property and use that profit to help pay for the one they were going to actually live in. Great plan. And you know what? That plan, I know what you're thinking, that, oh, it doesn't sound like a good plan, but that plan for a lot of people over the years has actually worked out pretty good for a lot of people until it doesn't work out. So fast forward to today, this guy's got two properties, or this couple, they've got two properties they're supposed to close on like any moment now, and they can't. They tried to sell them on assignment, couldn't do that. The reason they're trying to get out of the deal is the values are so much lower than what they expected. And they've tried speaking to the bank. They can't get mortgages for these two properties. They can't get mortgages for one property, never mind two properties. So the bank's not giving them money to be able to close. They went to B lenders, C lenders. You can go all the way down the alphabet. Nobody's giving them any money. They went to private lenders. Nobody is touching this. They did the whole, to family can, you help. Nobody can help them is the story behind all this. So they got two properties in their name. They can't close with the builder. The deposit on these properties together total $300,000, which was their life savings. They're stuck. It's a very, very bad situation. The best they can hope for is that the builder takes a deposit and that's it. Doesn't go after them for more. So when the properties eventually do sell, if they sell so much lower, the builder can go after them for more. They're hoping, they're trying to negotiate now that the $300,000 loss is the max, that the builder just accepts it and feels good about that. And they, in a crazy kind of way, got to be grateful that they're only going to be on the hook for $300,000. And we don't even know if that's true yet because they're still trying to negotiate all that. I'm telling you this because this couple, first of all, took advice from the salesperson. Represents the builder. The builder's the one trying to sell these properties. The salesperson works for the builder. All those charts and drafts and predictions, they're just wishes. Lots of people ask me, predict. Nobody can predict accurately. But when you're taking advice from someone who has everything to gain. That salesperson is showing you charts. Where do these numbers come? There's so many things wrong with looking at those predictions. And for a long time, those predictions about values going up, for many years, they were actually working out that way. And now it hasn't. And the real reason I'm telling all this is because we've done a whole bunch of shows where we're telling you market's picking up. Hey, prices are trending up. Hey, you know, there's lots of multiple offers out there these days. That's kind of the January that we're in right now. But we're not out of the woods. It's not like the market has turned around and all these people, all these sellers that have the potential of losing money where they're going to sell at a loss. They're saved. Not at all. We are still in a depressed market right now. Prices are still much lower than what they were before. We're not out of the woods. There's still people, regular people, experiencing a lot of financial pain in this market right now. I guess, you know, be careful about the decisions you make is very, very important. You're talking about major financial decisions. In this case, $300,000 was their life savings, and they thought they had a foolproof plan. I actually had asked him, what made you think that was a good plan? And he had said, I got family and friends that have done that in the past, and it's worked out well. It's worked out well until it doesn't. If you think this video can help somebody you know, pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to talk to me about your real estate situation, it's really simple. Up here, there's a link to my calendar. Below in the description, there's a link to my calendar. You want to talk about selling, buying? We'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Click on the calendar, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll go from there. Now, let's get into the numbers. So what's going on in Peel and Durham region? Well, let's have a look. Here's a quick summary. Durham, for my Durham sample, I'm using Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as my Durham sample. All the data today is only for detached property. So I got Durham, average prices down 1 week to the next. Brampton, average prices down 1 week to the next. Mississauga, average prices down 1 week to the next. What's going on? They're all following the same pattern. We're going to start off with Mississauga. 23 detached properties were sold. 3 of those were at $2 million or more. It's interesting, and I can't explain it, but it's interesting that sales are coming down. I've spent the last few weeks talking about how buyers are showing up. There's more properties being listed with offer nights. It's getting a bit intense. There is a bit of a shortage with listings versus how many buyers are trying to buy. We've experienced that with our own buyers and sellers across the GTA, yet sales are dropping. The opposite of what we would expect. Even if we're only focused on seasonality trends, we should be having more listings, more sales right now with each week. But that's not the case. 23 were sold. That's one observation here. Why are sales coming down? The other observation is that for week ending January 31st, 3 properties were sold at $2 million or more. The previous week was 2, so 1 more this week, and yet average sold price came down. I would have expected average sold price to increase. Average sold price is now sitting at $1,440,000, and it's been increasing every single week. This time it's dropped by almost $60,000. Compared to last year, $1,440,000 is 13% higher than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is also 13% higher, sitting at $1,330,000. 23 were sold, not a lot. 4 of them, 17% sold at list price or more, and 56 were listed. We do expect more listings. You know, we went from 50 to 56, so yeah, it's a little bit more. Nothing earth-shattering, nothing that's going to move the market one way or another, but at least it's trending up. Active listings, however, is trending down. So there are fewer and fewer properties available for sale. But sales are also trending down, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. Months of inventory is trending up. For 3 weeks now, we're now sitting at 2.5 months of inventory. Now, months of inventory, as you know, I've said it many times, that's the relationship between supply and demand. When months of inventory is down, it means at the current rate that we're buying and at the amount of properties actually available for sale, how quickly are we going to sell out of all the listings? Well, the lower that number, the lower the months of inventory, prices tend to go up. And when months of inventory start to climb, prices tend to come down. And you could see it here. Months of inventory came down, prices were going up. Now, months of inventory is going up and prices turn down. That's the normal pattern behavior that we normally notice. But we're sitting at 2.5, technically, seller's market. However, it's not an exact science. There is a gray area. We say at 3 months to 5 months, it's more of a balanced market. So we're kind of on the border of between a balanced market and a top end of a seller's market. Here's Brampton. Also, sales are dropping. 35 detached properties were sold. One of those was at $2 million or more. Average sold price, it was growing. It was increasing. It's now come down from the previous week to $1,175,000. 1,175, 2% lower than where we were this time a year ago. And so far for this year, it's only a few weeks into this year, average sold price has been between 1 to 3% of where we were last year, this time in Brampton for detached properties. The median price, 7% lower than where we were this time a year ago. 35 were sold, 20%. So 7 sold at list price or more. 89 were listed. So listings is increasing. That's what we would expect at this time this year. Active listings is coming down. Months of inventory creeping up. Just so we went from 1.7, 1.9 2 weeks in a row. Now we're sitting at 2. So months of inventory is starting to creep up. That should have an effect of prices creeping down over time. So obviously we're going to keep watching, seeing what's happening, but that could explain why prices are all going up, because this is a fairly low months of inventory, but now they're starting to turn around. So here's Durham. And for Durham, like I said, we're using Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as our Durham sample. 37 detached properties were sold. One of those was at $2 million or more. Average sold price down from the previous week to $1,079,000. $1,079,000 is 7% lower than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is 3% lower than where we were this time a year ago. 37 were sold, 18 of them, close to half, 49% sold at list price or more. It's very competitive in the Pickering, Ajax, Whitby area, especially at this price point. 55 were listed. Active listings is coming down, so there's fewer properties to choose from. Months of inventory, staggeringly low. I mean, it was low at 1, went up to 1.1. Now it's sitting at 0.9. Properties, active listings is decreasing. It's very, very competitive in Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. If you're just starting off and trying to get out there to buy, you're going to see it. There's lots of properties selling at a pricing strategy where they expect you to compete, where the seller wants to see multiple offers coming in. Here's a quick summary. In many areas, we are sitting in a seller's market, but in many areas, the reality of being in the field is that we're at the top end of the seller's market. So it's going to, in some spots, many spots, feel more like a balanced market, but it can also be very busy. The market is in transition right now. Some buyers new to the market are being caught by surprise. Some sellers are being caught by surprise, and it's confusing for a lot of realtors out there to how to price, how to put offers, what price makes sense. you really need to align yourself with somebody who knows the numbers and can analyze quick changes in the market so you don't overpay or you don't undersell whatever it is that you're doing in the market today. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.